Welcome to Pastor's Chat today. Well, we're looking at a new psalm, Psalm 142. Now, something interesting about this psalm that I didn't know before, and that this is the last psalm that we have recorded in the book of Psalms by David about in the years that he was fleeing from King Saul. And so the last of the Psalms that he wrote when he was fleeing from King Saul. Now, it probably didn't get added to the book of Psalms later until maybe King Hezekiah took this psalm, found it in the book of hymns that David had written, and said, hey, this needs to be a part of the collection of hymns that the people of Israel will use in their worship. So Hezekiah, the king, later years added it. And so this is that last psalm that David is talking about some of the things that happened when he had to flee from King Saul in those early years of his military ministry and becoming the king of Israel. Now, obviously, this is a psalm that David is crying out in desperation for help. It says that he was in a cave, and we're not sure which cave it was. It could have been a cave at Adullam, and that is 1 Samuel chapter 22, or maybe later when he had to hide from Saul in the cave at En Gedi, where Saul actually himself came into the cave and David cut off a piece of his garment. We know that at least 9 times in the early days of David serving King Saul, after he got so jealous of David for killing Goliath and then going out to war, coming back, and the women were singing, David has slain his 10,000s and Saul his thousands, and Saul just went into a jealous rage and over 9 times sought to kill him in 2 chapters there in we believe 1 Samuel 19 and 20. David finally flees. He seems to lose faith a little bit because he flees to the Philistines of all people, and there he finds some refuge, and people maybe wonder, oh goodness, what's happened to David? Why would he do that? And then there he has nothing but trouble as you read through the contents of Samuel, and then he flees to this cave where he's hiding, and this is where he cries out to the Lord. Now, it's a psalm of contemplation, a maskil. It means a psalm of instruction, a psalm that teaches us in the midst of our greatest despair, we should cry out to the Lord for help. And that's what David is teaching us here. And so verse 1, David said in this cave, in a time of deep despair, I cry out to the Lord with my voice. With my voice to the Lord, I make my supplication. I pour out my complaint before him. I declare before him my trouble. And so basically David is saying, I believe the Lord is the one that will hear my prayer. David might have lost maybe some of his courage, but he did not lose his heart for God. And he's seeking God to help him in his time of desperation. And that's what we should do. And every time I read this psalm, I think, oh me, I'm so good at trying to pour out my complaint before others and want others to feel sorry for me when I'm going through a difficult time. I want to reveal how difficult it is to serve the Lord. Well, not David here. David just says, I'm not telling everybody, I'm telling the Lord at this point. And he just pours out his complaint before him. And here's one of the things we should learn from this, and that is the Lord hears our prayers. He hears our prayers. He delights when we come in our desperation and call on his name. And so that's the first thing David is declaring to us. But also the Lord knows our circumstances, verses 3 and 4. When my spirit was overwhelmed within me, then you knew my path, in the way in which I walk. They have secretly set a snare for me. Look on my right hand and see, for there is no one who acknowledges me. Refuge has failed me. No one cares for my soul. And my friend, maybe that's the way you feel. Maybe it appears that family and friends and others have forsaken you and have left you by yourself. The hole is deep, it's dark, and it's full of despair and depression and discouragement. But my friend, that's the time you can call upon him, because he knows your circumstances. Well, God bless you, and I trust this psalm will be an instruction to you and me as we cry out to God today. God bless. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.